Yeah, what's happening? Avery Braxton, Rachel Phillips here at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas, getting ready for the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl between West Virginia and Memphis. And this is an absolutely beautiful stadium, not a football stadium. Toyota Stadium is a soccer stadium and holds FC Dallas.
It's a football stadium.
Okay, yes.
Football.
It is a football stadium in certain ways. Toyota Stadium, home to FC Dallas, the MLS team here in Frisco, Texas. Really, it's an incredible stadium. Vibes are good. I mean, it does look beautiful. I think, the contingent that Memphis will have here will be exciting. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, vibes are good. Weather right now, not so great. A little bit cloudy, overcast.
A little windy, overcast. Maybe a little rain coming.
Yeah, could expect some rainy conditions come game time tomorrow. But a really exciting game for both these two teams. West Virginia 6-6 on the season. Memphis obviously 10-2, looking for their 11th win of the season, which has been massive for this program.
Yeah, certainly a lot to play for. I think you're not in an AAC championship game, so there was some disappointment there. You were hoping you might be in a college football playoff scenario, but for the Memphis Tigers, I think there is certainly something to play for. You're talking about getting your second win over a Power 4 conference opponent, a Power 4 conference opponent in the same year, and then potentially 3 in 2 years, because you also got the big win over Iowa State last year. And honestly, this is going to be kind of a proving ground, another statement win that Ryan Silverfield could get. Having a chance to win against a Big 12 team 2 years in a row is certainly nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, super interesting vibes between these two teams. Obviously, Memphis, so much to play for, so much to prove in regards to where they stand, like you just mentioned. But for West Virginia, well, they're coming into this in a completely different kind of set of scheme. Obviously, their head coach being fired at the end of this season. They have a new interim coach, Chad Scott. He's taking over the reins for this bowl game. And they've already got their new head coach coming in Rich Rodriguez, who's going to be the coach of this team moving forward. So for West Virginia, there's a lot for this team to prove, a lot of players who are trying to stamp their mark on this team and show, hey, we still want to be here next year. You should keep us, Coach Rodriguez, as well as for coaches like Chad Scott. He's trying to keep his job for next year as the OC. So very different ways the two teams are coming into this game, but certainly it's going to mean a lot.
Yeah, when we talked to both sides, Ryan Silverfield actually mentioned when you get into a bowl game like this where a team does have an interim coach in Chad Scott, who is their offensive coordinator, by the way, you get there's opportunities for craziness. You might see trick plays. You might see going for it on fourth down a lot, because what is there to lose? A lot of these coaches are auditioning to potentially be on the staff potentially next year. And it's kind of funny for West Virginia to be able to turn back the clock with Rich Rodriguez, who they obviously was a coach in their program for a long time in the early 2000s. I think for this team, for West Virginia in particular, it is audition tape for them, for a new head coach, for a lot of those underclassmen who are going to stick with the program, trying to make a mark and be on the field next year. You want to see what they're able to do. I think for Memphis, it is really cool that you're not getting a lot of opt-outs in this game. A lot of these seniors, they want to play in this game. For Ryan Silverfield, this will be his last game with this group of seniors. This is the first group of seniors that he's had from their freshman season to their senior seasons, including obviously quarterback Seth Hennigan. It's been really kind of an amazing run for this group, and I think they want to certainly stamp it with a win this week.
These guys have meant the world to me. I think about this. All this guy knows is at the end of the season hoisting a trophy. Obviously we wish we were hoisting championship trophies, but man, that's a remarkable thing. The guys like Greg Rubin, Jonah Gamble, Kobe Drake, who's one of the long-tenured ones, but it's been phenomenal. It's such a special group. Like I say, I wake up every day with the best job in the world, right? An honor and privilege to coach these guys and what they mean to me and what they've meant to this program more than anything. Those guys have stayed loyal and committed. They've seen the success and the fruition of their hard work pay off and it come to fruition. And man, it's everything. It's all about them. And more than anything, I can't wait. Hopefully at 11:30 tomorrow night for those guys to be celebrating, because there's no better feeling to watch the guys enjoy themselves in the locker room.
We came in together, we worked together, we're going to finish together. So mean the world for us. These guys put in a lot of work. It's been very resilient and things that have happened, and have stayed together, stayed connected. It's worked and put in a lot of time. So it'll mean the world to us to go out with a W.
Okay, Rachel, so now let's get into the matchups. 10-2 Memphis taking on 6-6 West Virginia. What stands out in this game? What do the Tigers need to do in order to get a win?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that Memphis can do to really get this win and capitalize on. I think one thing they're not going to get is a lot of yards off of penalties. West Virginia, one of their best things they've been this season is in penalties. They're ranked 8th in fewest penalties that they give away in all of FBS football. So Memphis won't be getting many yards on that area of the ball, but in regards to the passing game, that's where I really expect them to take flight and really capitalize and kind of take a stranglehold on this game. West Virginia give up an average of 268.9 yards per game, which is 9th worst in FBS football. Meanwhile, Memphis has the 24th best passing offense. So expect Seth Hennigan to connect with Demir Blankenship, Rock Taylor, and get those yards and really take a stranglehold on this game in the passing game. The other way that I think Memphis can really take a big emphasis on moving this game forward and making sure that they get the win come here Tuesday night is on third down conversions. West Virginia allows their opponents to complete 49% of third downs, which is just a massive, massive amount of third downs. That's third west in all of FBS football. Memphis, in regards to completing on third downs, 23rd in the country. They do it so well. So I think that's also going to be an area of the game where we can see Memphis really make sure that they're capitalizing and keeping the ball moving and keeping those drives just rolling.
Yeah, certainly when you're dealing with a team that is going to, on paper, be bigger, faster, stronger than you and a Big 12 opponent, you certainly want to keep the ball and have that time of possession. So the longer Memphis keeps the ball, if the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score, right? So third down conversions, I think you make an excellent point on that note. When we talked to Ryan Silverfield today, the first thing he talked about when he was talking about West Virginia and what stands out to him was just it's going to be a game in the trenches because they are going to be a bigger team than you. To me, this is going to look a lot like the Florida State win, where you're going to have to win. You got to be able to run the ball. Certainly, you can't be in negative situations in terms of, you go to run the ball, now you're looking at a 2nd and 12. You can't get a negative play in early down situations to make it easy on your third down offense. You mentioned Seth Hennigan, all-time passing leader in Memphis history, all-time passing leader in the AAC. I expect him to throw it around the yard a lot. You got to take care of the ball. Obviously, and I think Memphis does a pretty good job at that, have a pretty good turnover margin this year. But what you certainly want to see on the defensive side for Memphis, this is a team in West Virginia that is going to want to run the ball. They have an 800-yard rusher. I believe his name is Jaheim White. They also have a quarterback who is mobile, a guy who can do it in both of his arm and his legs, over 600 yards on the ground this year and 5 rushing touchdowns. And Garrett Green, who's also a fifth-year senior, certainly in a similar way to Seth Hennigan, stuck with one program for a long time. He's also can do it through the air. So if you are the Memphis defense, you really have to key in on him. We spoke to Chandler Martin today. He said it's become an 11-on-11 kind of game. You really have to have somebody who's kind of keeping an eye on that rushing quarterback, because in a similar fashion where you got to stay on the field on third down, he's going to be able to move the chains with his legs in certain situations, and that's something that linebacker core, I think especially, is going to have to key in on. As far as these quarterbacks, we talk a little bit about Seth Hennigan. This is going to be his last game as a Memphis Tiger. He's played for this team for 4 years, played his high school football, for those of you guys who don't know, in Denton, Texas, which is about an hour away, maybe a little bit under an hour away, won a state championship here in 2020, and he's done so much for this Tigers program. One thing he did say will stick with him, not winning a conference championship, but his legacy is something that Memphis is certainly going to think about for a long time.
I'm just a team-oriented guy, team-over-me mentality that's been preached to me throughout my whole entire career. And I've just been fortunate enough to have had the same head coach for all 4 years. I feel like that was really important in this day and age of the transfer portal. You're seeing, everyone leave, especially at the lower levels, to go to a Power 4 or get a different opportunity. But I was able to have the same head coach, same offensive coordinator for my last 3 years. So it kind of just worked out in my favor. I'm a product of luck. That's something I say, hard work and luck. And that's how I made it to where I am today. And to have had all my players, for the most part, stay with me, and then the staff stay the same, that's allowed me to stay at Memphis and have had a pretty successful career.
Seth Hennigan is going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks in Memphis Tigers history. When you hear him talk about his legacy in there, what comes to mind for you as somebody who's got a chance to watch him this year?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's just incredible to see a starting quarterback, the only starting quarterback in all of FBS football, to have spent all 4 years as a starter at the same school. That is just something that is not common anymore for so many reasons. The transfer portal, NIL, everything else in between. For Seth to have stayed true and to stay loyal to the Tigers is something that will always be remembered, I think, by fans and by the program alike. I think more than anything is the way he's carried himself. We've seen him be there for the losses, be there for the wins, and he always has the same personality and gives you the same responses, and it's never about anyone else, it's always about the team, and he is just a team guy through and through, and I think he would love nothing more than to cap off his legacy and his time as a Memphis Tiger than with a win here in the Frisco Bowl.
It was really cool for me to hear him talk about just almost leaving it better than you found it, right? I think that's certainly the case for Seth Hennigan, but he talks about these quarterbacks that are coming up behind him. Obviously, they got the 4-star quarterback coming in next year out of Houston County in Georgia. You've got, Arrington Maiden, who's on this team as well. He's talking about, he wants those guys to be able to come to him and ask him questions and learn from him. And I'm sure, those quarterbacks who have been behind him have already learned so much from him, because you almost don't have a choice with the way, the kind of leader that Seth is. But also just setting the standard and setting the culture. I think so much of what Ryan Silverfield hasn't had to do is do some of that culture setting, because he's got guys like a Chandler Martin, who's been with the program a couple of years, like a Seth Hennigan, who's been with the program for 4 years. Though people who transfer into this program look to guys like Seth to set the standard. And I think he's done that from a phenomenal job of just being a leader for this program, both on the field and in Memphis, just kind of setting the standard for what a Memphis Tiger is really supposed to be. And it's something that, like you mentioned, we don't see at a lot of schools across the country. So one last chance for Seth Hennigan and for this Memphis Tigers team to put a stamp on their season, a potential 11th win on the way when they take on West Virginia tomorrow night in Frisco, right here at Toyota Stadium, 8 o'clock. And you can watch that game on ESPN. So we will certainly be keeping tabs on what happens with the Tigers and give you all the wrap up here from Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. I'm Avery Braxton. This is Rachel Phillips. We'll toss it back to Caleb.